Hi drummers, Garey Williams here with another reaction and analysis video. In today's video, we're going to be looking and listening to Keith Carlock. This guy's an amazing player. Got his degree at North Texas State. Here we go. All right, we're going to pause it there. Very cool thematic kind of idea he had happening where he's doing like a little hi-hat footwork with some bass drum footwork. Very nice, open, resonant bass drum sound. He seems to have always preferred this very kind of almost jazz, acoustic type of approach to his tuning, very ambient. And of course, his drums are really flat, and he's playing certainly traditional grip. Right here where I have the video pause, you can look at his left hand and see how far back he's choked on that drumstick. So he's getting a lot more weight as he's choking back. He's not always been there. It's kind of moving back, especially as he's starting to play this lick where I just paused it, where he's doing this kind of like two single strokes, double strokes of foot. So kind of a lick that a lot of these guys play. Loves that sort of rolling kind of double stroke thing where he plays lots of double strokes around the toms, and he's got again that more acoustic type of tuning. Looks like smaller mounted toms, a couple floor toms. Everything has kind of a favorable to the traditional grip plane of angle. That's part of the reason he does what he does, is I think because his left hand can have more response when it's playing on a parallel relationship to the drumhead surface. And again, higher tuning, very melodic approach, and just great feel, very kind of New Orleans swampy vibe. Let's continue. What I like here is a great shot of the right hand. You can see he's playing now up in the bell, really favoring more of a tip stroke and then really crashing the other cymbal there. But some nice 7-stroke stuff, very fluffy stuff, great flams. Again, this very kind of almost like second line New Orleans vibe that he's got going between the boom, da gong gong ga go ga go ga go ga go gong gong. This tossing accents back and forth between the snare drum and the bass drum player, which is kind of the second line sort of syncopated thing. Jojo Mayer goes through this in one of his 3 DVDs in The Secret Weapons of Modern Drumming Part 2, A Guide to Pedal Technique, because he did a lot of historical research about pedals and collected his own set of pedals, and highly recommend you check that out. And then he goes into a little cameo where he's playing kind of in the fashion of these guys, and he actually shows a couple of guys playing in this fashion where they're tossing accents back and forth between the snare and the bass. It's very funky, and I think that's where a lot of this root of his approach rhythmically is coming from. Lots of finger action. Check it. play. Now, the thing about Keith's playing, having listened to him and seeing him play live and kind of understanding the songs he was playing, I think that was, I can't remember who the guitar player was. Perhaps it was Oz Noy. Somebody, no, Weckl plays with Oz Noy, but I heard him play with somebody that Dave Weckl played with. And of course, quite a different approach in terms of the drum interpretation, but he always plays over the bar line, meaning the phrase points. So when you understand the form of the tune and then you hear him play, and then the way he would back the soloist is that he wouldn't crash the beginning of the phrase points in the song's form. He would actually deliberately not make those very clear. So it took a little while for me to wrap my head around his approach, but you could hear I was tapping the foot and pulsating where I thought the downbeat was, but then he obscures it so much, and he plays these ideas to go over the bar line fills, the concept where here comes the one, but he's going to go over the one and do some kind of a crash or resolve the fill after the beginning of the measure. So he's obscuring the phrase points, and that's part of the reason his playing has that kind of swampy New Orleans vibe, is not only the way he's tossing accents back and forth, in my estimation, between the snare and bass, the very open sound that he's getting in terms of his tuning, but the fact that he actually is just kind of playing all these lines that seem to just kind of be cascading all the time and not necessarily adhering to phrase points like a lot of drummers would play. You can see his bass drum, all this hip stroke feel up the whole time. Look how far back the tip comes. Yes. There was the one. I paused it on the one as near as I can tell. So that's a right, left little kind of thing between the stick, and he's bouncing the doubles so that he's kind of using fingernails and fingertips to get that sound, and some really cool stuff. I've seen other drummers do that. Of course, John Bonham did it in the Moby Dick solo. Papa Joe Jones did it many, many years before. Of course, this is not something new. But this idea where you're mixing a stick in the left hand is really cool. And he's playing similar ideas, but he's just getting that sort of like more organic sound of the left hand and some cool effects between the right stick and the left hand. Look how the snares are off. Rim shots. Really near the edge. All right, that was a little reverse or inverted six-stroke roll coming up the toms like that. Right, left, right, left, right, left, left. Cool little idea coming up the drums like that. But beautiful, fluffy, purry, fat double strokes. I mean, P-H-A-T. Really nice. I call them chubby doubles. Real wide. Lots of rebound. It's whipped cream. The guys would play this kind of stuff. Lots of arm pumping motion. You can see how tall his strokes are. Left hand, again, it's frozen here. You can see how little bit of stick is left on the hand. And then the right hand's much more at the balance point because he's doing so much more finger stuff and a lot of triple strokes, kind of a flattened out swing ride pattern most of the time, but a lot more rhythmic activity in terms of keeping the time flowing on the cymbals, and then bass drum supporting that, and then the left hand filling around, and then of course power grip because he's so far back he can get just really great whack, choke back on the baseball bat if you want to knock it out of the park. So if you hold further back on the stick, there's more weight, he gets a bigger rim shot sound, and cool. That was super cool. Let's talk about that kind of stuff that he did there at the end was really excellent. Like double stops, meaning unison strokes, almost like they're kind of a buzzed flam. So the idea is a little bit ahead, one hand or the other, just to give it a little bit more length and a little more fatness. So when you play flams, the concept is to make it sound like more than one player's playing. Thinking Steve Gadd late in the evening with Paul Simon when he played that Mozambique and he had two sticks in each hand. And he said the concept for that was so that it would sound like there'd be a group of drummers playing where there's a little bit of separation between everything being exactly together. So that's the reason for that. And so sometimes when you play these things a little bit off, it gives it a little bit more, where's the downbeat? It sort of fattens the downbeat instead of making it skinny, because grace notes really thicken a single note from a single tap to single grace note, and then double grace notes, which you get your drag, and then roughs, which are single strokes. Anyways, really cool stuff by the Mr. Keith Carlock. Such a great open, loose feel. Definitely coming at the drumming community with something a little different than most guys. He played with Steely Dan for a while. In a comment that I read by Donald Fagen, the main singer for Steely Dan, he said his feeling, it just always reminds me of just being swampy. Like he's got this New Orleans undercurrent almost to everything that he plays. Again, I mentioned earlier, he obscures the downbeats, and the way he plays and everything is just kind of this like constant lines of rhythmic things going on. I hear Elvin Jones as an influence in his approach. Who knows who else? I'm sure if you research some modern drummer articles or other articles, you would find out who the people were that were key influences, which is always something that's helpful. If you like a guy's playing, find out who the influences were and go back and study those players. So anyways, I hope you liked some of my comments and my analysis of Keith Carlock's playing. If you did, like the channel, subscribe to it and share it with your friends. And I'll see you on the next reaction and analysis video. Have a great day.